So as I mentioned before, it's really important to think of a bulletin newsletter in two parts, your campaign and your contact list. You have your campaign, which is where you select the content and the settings for the newsletter right in the admin dashboard. Now, one thing to remember is that Bulletin has its own permission setting in Localist, and anyone working on a Bulletin newsletter is going to need to be granted Bulletin admin permissions in their user profile before they're going to see that option in the admin dash. And I'll show an example of what that looks like in just a moment. But here on this screenshot on the left, you can see there's a lot of things to customize, from who it says it's sent from, who receives any replies. You can be sent a preview ahead of a scheduled campaign, or whether you want to allow people the option to unsubscribe from that email once they receive it. Now, you'll be able to schedule a campaign to be sent where you can customize the date, the time, how often you'd like this to be sent if it's a recurring newsletter. You can also set this to send manually, so you just send it whenever you're ready. Lastly, you'll be able to select a preset template or previously saved template from a dropdown. Now, the preset templates include a view for multiple events, a single event, or your pre and post event insights emails. Now, over here on the right, we have a very small example of a contact list. Only 3 people on my contact list here. But these can be added individually, or you can actually add in bulk to a newsletter contact list using the format of email, comma, first name, last name. This way it's going to show up as email, first name, last name in here, and you can just paste that right into the contact list, which I will show you in just a moment. So once you save your campaign, you're going to be able to access the Bulletin layout editor, which is here on the left, which you can select each component here to customize and curate your email. I'm going to show you in the demo in just a moment, but first, you can preview any email using the buttons at the top. And from right to left, we have browser preview and email preview, which is going to show you your campaign ahead of sending it in either your browser or send you an example email to show you what that would look like. This right here in the center, this is an out-of-the-box browser preview of a bulletin using this layout right here. Now, edit content and layout is going to bring you to this layout editor. For subscribe widget, just like a Localist widget, clicking that button is going to provide you an embed code that can be placed on any web page within Localist or externally, so that your audience can opt in to receiving this campaign in the future. A small window is going to open up with a line of code that you can copy into your desired embed location. Lastly, the Send Now button will send your newsletter, but don't worry, it will ask you to confirm this decision in case you aren't ready and confirm the number of people you're about to send it to. Sorry, folks, just reading a question. Princess, I'll answer that in just a second. Bulletin is available right out of the box with your Localist account. However, you are limited to a single campaign and 2,500 sends per month. You have the option to purchase unlimited Bulletin, which is exactly what it sounds like. Unlimited campaigns and unlimited sends per month. If you'd like to know more, contact your client success manager to get that ball rolling. All right, just like with Register, we're going to go ahead and actually take a look at Bulletin live in the wild. So we're going to jump right back into my admin dashboard here. And first and foremost, as I mentioned, with that, Bulletin access actually requires a Bulletin admin permission. And if you don't have that, you won't actually see this Bulletin here on the left. It might just go from content right to metrics. If you don't see that, that is something you will need to have granted to your profile via your calendar team. I would reach out to your internal calendar team to have your permissions escalated. So here is that screenshot from the presentation slide in person with the edit a campaign menu and the options that I've added in here as just kind of a dummy test account. You'll be able to find your templates right here. And as I mentioned, because I've saved this, I can use this existing template as an example, or I have all of these existing other templates in which to see or use. And if you'd like, you can select one and then preview it up here in the right to see what it would look like prior to sending. Again, here is that schedule function where you'd be able to either send manually or in a schedule. If selecting schedule, a new suite of options is going to open up, including the start date, what time you want it sent, how often you'd like it to repeat. Once you're finished, you can go ahead and save changes. And then that's going to bring you right over. We're going to leave here because that's going to bring you right over to your content and layout page. Now, this is exactly how this looks here. This is how your email is going to look being read from top to bottom. And to edit each part, you can simply click on a component. And in the window to the right, it's going to allow you to make those changes right then and there. So a title, you have the option to change the brand header, weekly events. You can add a URL that links out to it, any container CSS classes. Same with a hero image. You'll be able to upload a photo. Now, when it comes to actually adding events, you can go ahead and click on Event List. And that's going to allow you, just like if you've used the channel layout editor, to include event types across the platform. So we're only looking at a bulletin that's going to send fundraisers. Now I've included the event type fundraisers. So this event list is going to include all events on my platform in this bulletin that use that event type. And you can do the same thing for your topics. Now it's a fundraiser, but only for science and technology and only for the general public. And you can see how you can add these different pieces of classification to make sure that those items are included in your bulletin. And again, you have the option to add or remove any of these as needed. If you want to add more components, simply click this button here and you'll see all the options you have. If you want to check our help center, I'll make sure that's linked following this. We have a definition as to what each one of these does and even some cool suggestions on what you can do there. Lastly, if you did want to edit the template to HTML, you can click this button here and it's going to bring you to the template HTML for your email templates, which I wouldn't really recommend getting too deep into unless you know what you're doing with liquid HTML. But lastly, again, if you wanted to preview either of those, you can click this button up here. Okay, so that being said, now if you click on this bulletin list here, you're also going to see the contact list menu, and that's what we're looking at here. First, you'll be able to see any existing contact lists you've made. So I just made an example one with those 3 contact lists earlier. However, if you want to create a new one, you can click the Add Contact List button, give it a name, and then it's going to bring you to the Edit menu for that particular contact list. Now, as I mentioned, you'll see everyone who's added here. If you want to add contacts, you can click this button here, and you can add them one at a time. Or if you want to follow that email, comma, first name, last name, you can actually just paste a whole list of names right into this window here, click Save Changes, and it's going to upload all of those users to your contact list in bulk without having to add everyone one by one or have them sign up automatically. If you have existing newsletter software that probably exports info like this, you can easily leverage that to drop that right here into one of these new contact lists. You can download a CSV template, although I will tell you it does just follow this format of email, comma, first name, last name. But if it's more organized for you, that will open up in a CSV that you can just brainstorm or dump all your contacts in there, copy that, paste it right here, and save your changes.